What's up, guys? We're back with more chess to fall asleep to. Got the webcam back on today. So, let's get started. We're at this 940 elo. We're making some progress. We're making it up the ladder. So, again, we play slow. I'm going to walk you through the thought process on almost every move. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll be asleep. It's really the whole purpose of this. So, let's get right into it. So, typically we will play the e-pawn to match his e-pawn, the e4, e5. But today we are going to go with the queen pawn, just to mix it up a little bit. Go with that d5. I know, crazy, right? So he decides to push past the queen's pawn. So, now we have a couple options. I think what we want to do is just attack with this knight. It's going to force either his knight to come out. There we go. So, now what we're going to do is move the bishop to attack the knight. So this puts a little bit of pressure on the knight. But what I'm really wanting to do is get this pin onto the queen. So that allows me to take this without him being able to move it. But then he pushes his second pawn to avoid that situation, because now he can defend this with the pawn. So, now we have a couple options. We could take with this, and then this could mess up the pawn structure. If he takes with the queen, then we can now take with the knight. He could check, and then we take. So, let's do that. So we'll take here. If he takes with the pawn, then we got to figure something else out, because it's kind of messed up. Oh, see, he does take with the queen. So I believe at this point I can just take with the knight, take that free pawn. We're just up a point of material. That is what we're looking to do, is be up in material as much as possible. So he goes back with the queen. So now we have a couple options of where we can go. So we can't really go here. Bishop just takes. We can go back. I think the best scenario is we either go back or we move over to the E square. I think we just go back to the C square. Keeps me safe. So if any of you have been following the channel, we did start winning last time we were playing, which is great news. It's fantastic. It's probably because we started playing slower, started thinking through each move. We haven't been in a rush. We did get in that bad spot where we lost pieces early on, but we brought it back, which is all that matters. I believe that we can take this pawn for free. Is there any reason I can't take the pawn? So he can move his bishop. Again, he could check, but then you just push. So let's take the pawn. Now up 2 points of material. So can't really complain. 2 points is 2 points. It's better than being up no points or negative points, I would think. Maybe not. Maybe the positioning is so bad that. But we'll see what he does. He does move the bishop. So I believe that we can push this middle pawn now, because we don't have this C bishop getting blocked. There's no reason for me not to push. So we'll push, defending this pawn. So either way he attacks. All right. And then he castles. So that's not necessarily terrible for me, I don't think. So I believe at this point, we start developing pieces. So we can develop the bishop. This is kind of attacking. We could develop the other knight. Okay. So let's develop the bishop first. And then we'll develop the knight. But yeah, so hopefully the soothing part of the voice will help you just fade away into a deep slumber. That's what we're going for here. And let's move our knight. We're going to develop. I don't see any reason not to develop with that knight move. It's not like it drastically changes. But it's something a little different for you guys. We got this low-level chess. Okay, we're going to push a pawn on our road to 1,000 elo. We're going to get there, too. It's going to be right around the corner. So at this point, I believe I could develop the queen, but then I'm almost pinning myself. I could go... What are my legal moves? Could go here. That seems like it's aggressive. Wanting to play aggressive, wanting to kind of get down on him, because I am up 2 points of material. So I'm almost looking to trade. I want to trade off even trades and just keep my advantage going. Take it into the late game. I am significantly down on time, but all right. See, that was a bad move by me, because now I'm at risk of losing the knight. But what I can do is I can push this, threatening the bishop. See what he does. So that wasn't great on my end. Threatening to lose my knight, but I think I can turn it around by doing this. So if he moves the knight, or the bishop, back, then we can move our knight into position here. Oh, he does end up taking. So that's fine. We'll do the trade. Again, we're looking to trade because we are up in material. We also haven't castled yet. So then we can castle queenside, keeping our pawn structure, while his pawn structure is now vulnerable to attack. Also, if he takes, we can take. No, we can't take because of the queen. So we could move the rook over, attack with the rook, get the queen into play, do this. We have some options. Definitely have some options. And he's got to mull over his options because he's pretty far behind at this point. He's not doing too hot, if I do say so myself. All right, so now he's looking to trade the knight off. I don't really want to trade that way. So let's move the bishop back one, defending this, and also getting out of the way of this attack. And really stopping him from being able to attack, because the only way he can move out of here at this point is that square. So maybe at this point, what we could do, maybe that's not great. I was thinking maybe you push this pawn, and then push this pawn, completely trapping this knight, not allowing him to get away. But that would destroy the pawn structure. And if I move up one, then he can just take with the bishop. If I take with the knight, he takes with the queen. And then he's just up a piece. So what was that queen move for? He moves it down. This allows him to do what exactly? I don't really see the point of that. But let's go ahead and move the queen into the game. So this is also attacking the knight. So it's going to force him to move the knight back to that square, as well as getting my queen into the game so I can get castled. So he's going to do it that way. So this is leaving the knight vulnerable. So right now my knight is vulnerable. It's hanging. What I could do is move the bishop back. I can't really move the knight because then he just takes the rook, checking me, forcing me to go up, and then sliding across and taking the other rook, which would be catastrophic and pretty much end the game immediately. So the couple options we can do is we could move the queen over, move the bishop over, move the king up, I think our best bet right now is to move the bishop down, defending. Still on this diagonal. It's controlling all of that. All right, and then he does take. Okay. So now at this point, can we push a pawn and then take? I think that's what we do. Because if we push this pawn, oh, then this pawn's just hanging. He could take, but then I take. And then what does he do? He takes here. Yeah, I think I like that. Trading off some pieces. It's not bad. I'm also jockeying for the middle of the board. Keep that position. Keep a strong center. Keep him off base, you know? Want him on his side of the map, off of my side. I don't really want him attacking, so he does end up taking. So we will take his knight at this point then. We will do that. And if he takes this pawn, I almost think that you just castle out of it. But we'll see what I think. But what did he just take? The pawn. Yeah, okay. That's fine. So I am up 2 pieces, 2 points of material. So I think trading is good. Trades are definitely good. Oh, I just messed up. So he does take. That's fine. We'll move the bishop down so we don't just lose our rook. Should have thought that one through a little bit better. Game's not over yet because now we're just tied, but that wasn't great. To lose the rook like that, it's not amazing. Okay, so now he is moving his rook into position. So let's go ahead and use the knight. Kind of put him in a little cave here. And then we can castle out of this. Still can castle out. Castle out, and the rook is defending the bishop. Nothing would be defending the knight. Okay, so that's fine. We almost like that because then I can slide the queen over. So now I'm defending the knight. This is good. Okay, now he's going for it. So now we're just going to castle out. I don't want to be pinned and then having his queen come down. But if he takes with the queen, we take with the bishop. And then if he takes with the rook, we take with the queen. So I think we are still safe. That was a huge mistake to lose the rook, but I think we're going to be okay. Now the question is do we... So if we trade queens, then it will be basically a bishop and a knight versus a rook. And I think I like that. I think that those are good odds for us. I think we can make something happen with that. So let's offer the queen trade. If he takes, I will take with the rook, keeping the pawn structure intact, as well as defending the knight from his rook attack. Because then if we can find a way to trade at that point, then we just be up a piece. So I think because I have more pieces than him, he does have a rook on me, but I have more total attacking, real units, not pawns. I think we're in a good spot. So let's see what we got here. He's taking his time to make a decision. I don't blame him because it is quite the conundrum what he should do here. Like, does he accept the queen trade? Does he leave? He'd have to completely back out of here if he was to. He'd have to completely back out. The only advantage he has is one rook. I have 4 pieces. He has 3, but he has an extra rook, which is worth 5 to my 3. But we're tied on points. I have 5 pawns and he has 6. So, he has an extra pawn, but these pawns are stacked. right? And stacked pawns, not always as good as pawns that can defend each other. Pawns on different squares, because then they can assist each other, play defense for each other. While pawns that are stacked like that, they're less valuable. That's what I'm trying to say. They're definitely less valuable. He's mulling over whether or not he wants to accept this queen trade. See, if I was him, I don't think I would accept it, because I don't think that one rook, a bishop, and a knight is a good matchup for my 2 rook setup in his scenario. If I was playing with the white pieces here, I wouldn't love that. I'd want to try to find some sort of an advantage with the rooks and the queen. Maybe try to get some sort of stack going. But I think that I've made myself a good position here. He is rated 968, which is higher than my 940. So if we get this, we'll get the +9. We're almost at the 950 at that point. So we'd be getting pretty close. So we'd be happy about that. A W here would be good. It'd be very good. It's not something that we complain about. He's no longer up on time. That was one advantage that he had, is that I was taking forever on every move, talking to you guys, walking you through the thought process. That way you'll be able to go into a deep slumber midway through this game. But I don't think he was doing that at the same time as he was playing. So that should be an advantage for him. But has he just given up? He just thinks he's lost? Is he looking up the AI for the best moves? Is it just like, what should he do here? I wonder who's actually winning. We'll take a look at the replay right after we're done here. See what the AI thinks is who's winning. I would say I'm winning. I like my position a lot better. My king is safer. I got a solid castle here. His castle is all over the place. He is up a pawn. Again, this pawn is worthless. So he's basically down a pawn. And I have more attacking pieces than him. So I would say that my position is better than his, for sure. The king safety, the more pieces, just all around better. Can't complain. But it looks like we're going to win this game. Sucks that he is timing us out. If you're going to lose, just resign. Just get out of here. Disconnected in 1 second. Yeah, the game's over in 1 second. So we do win. And it looks like we were slightly winning. Not much, though. Just barely winning. So 249. Let's go ahead and play another. We're going to get above that 950 today if we get this win. Because this would be a +8 if we win. -8 if we lose. So again, we're mixing it up today. We usually play the king's pawn. This is what GM Nakamura says to play. But we're going to go with the queen's pawn today. Mix it up. All right, is this the Sicilian or the Dutch defense? I got to say, I have not played against this very much. So I'm not 100% what to do. But we're just set up how we usually set up. We'll get the bishop out, get both knights out. So now we're going to get our knights out. Let's get this knight out. Okay. And then this is kind of his setup at this point. So, going forward, we can get our queen into play. We can move this pawn to get the bishop into play. Try to get the castle going. Or we can get the queen into play to castle alongside. So, we're going to move the pawn up one. Get this bishop into play. Try to get as many pieces as possible into the game. Move this bishop up into attacking position. We can almost move the knight. If he takes, we take. And we're just taking more of the center of the board. He's pretty much given up the center from his first place. He's just used pawns. If I was him, I'd want to castle this way, but he's even given that up. This is stopping this knight play, though. So now let's get the queen into the game. Let's think. Let's calculate. Do we want to go up 2, 1, over here? If we go up 2, is there any way for him to attack me? I don't think so. And I've heard that you want to take your pieces as far into the attack. Okay, now he's got his knight into the game. So we can safely move this knight onto this square. And then we can fork. This, of course, moving the knight here, will allow me to fork both the queen and the rook, forcing that trade. So he obviously sees that. He doesn't want that to happen. So he's going to force my bishop back 1, which is not terrible, but I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay. So is there a way I can readjust here to get the attack on this? See, what I want to do is I want to castle queenside to allow me to push these pawns aggressively. Because I want to be able to be aggressive with these pawns. So there's this pawn to defend. You get a little structure here. So now let's aggressively move pawns forward. Yeah, I think that's the play. Move the queen down, move this pawn up. If he takes, we take. Is that actually winning though? Oh, and then checkmate. So that would be checkmate if we get that set up. So if we get this set up where we were to push this pawn, push this queen, it's okay. Now we're going to set up the queen because this would be checkmate. We can go here, and then he takes, and then I take, and then he takes, and then I take, and then he'd have to push this, which he could do though. So that wouldn't quite be checkmate. Okay, so he sees it too. He doesn't want to just give it up, which makes sense. How do we want to play this now? Let's think. I mean, we could still be aggressive with the pawns. We can move this pawn up 1, then this pawn up 2, forcing trades. We still don't win those trades, though. Let's keep being aggressive on his side, towards his king. Let's keep being aggressive. That is the play. Force him to do something. Okay. So this is interesting. So we kind of have to take, because if we don't take and we move the bishop back, then he takes, then I take, then he takes, then I take. I still just don't love that. So let's take. Takes. Calculating. Let's think. It was a quick knight move. He was really confident about that knight move. So now if I take, he takes with the queen. The knight can't really go anywhere without getting attacked. Well. Still calculating. Still calculating. I I'm not too sure on how to play this. And we just go up one. Is that too passive? Should I have found a more aggressive move? Go for trades. It is a passive move, but you know, we are pretty much the same rating too now that I'm seeing it. Alright, so now he's pushing pawns on that side. Let's just push this pawn, stopping the queen from coming down to that square. So now he came down. So I think now I can just take. So I could take, and then if he takes, I take. And then he can't take after that. So let's take. So this should just get me up 1 point of material. We'll take a look at it while it happens. So just in case I'm missing something, because if he takes, I don't really see how he can punish me. So actually, it might be better to take with the bishop, because then that's check. That's what we're going to do. We'll check him there. And then forks the other rook. That's a free rook too, because he can't take it back. So now we're up 6. So we're finally starting to make some ground on this. All of that back and forth in the early game, shuffling pieces, playing a little passively, seems to be paying off. It's not too bad. So let's see if we can put some more pressure on him. That is the goal. Put some more pressure. So now he's calculating. At this point, we do take here, I believe, because I want to trade pieces. I'm ahead. So as much as I can, I want to trade off even material. I think that's generally pretty good when you're ahead. Let's go ahead and take. Take here. And then I believe we can move this down without anything really hurting me at this point. Doing all right. Yeah. So he is taking there. It's fair. It's definitely fair. So, is it possible for me to just move the queen into position? Check. Let's do that. The knight is safe. This pawn is no longer safe. He can come take the pawn. Check. Force me to move over. So, that could be a good move for him. Possibly. Gets him up 1 point of material. But it does seem kind of small fish there, if I'm being honest. It seems like you'd want something a little bit more than that. So now at this point, what I want to do is just move the knight, attacking this rook. It's also blocking the queen from really being able to get deep into my territory of the map. Kind of want to push his queen outside, keep my king safe. I really think that would have bothered me a little bit if he would have gave me that check. He didn't end up doing it, but okay, so he goes a more aggressive. So if he takes, I take. If he takes, I take. So we're still winning there. So now let's go ahead and threaten the bishop. Get him into the party. Can't just let, the queen, the bishop, and the knight have all the fun. And let the rook come in, do some damage. That's what we're doing. Okay, so he does end up taking. So because he did take, I am going to take here. I am going to do that. Because that's going to put me up 7 points of material. If he does move here, I will take. Will I? Or maybe if he moves there, you just take with the bishop, and then he takes with the queen. So now, do we want to trade off queens? I believe that we do. We want to trade off queens. And then we want to get the rook. Maybe not that aggressive. Let's play it a little bit slower. Or just push pawns. We're not really in a rush. We got plenty of time. You know, you're trying to fall asleep. I mean, if you haven't made it yet, I don't know what's going on. The game's pretty boring. Not really. It's kind of been a banger, if I'm being honest. It's been a tough game. The way that this is all came into fruition. It's been okay. But let's see what we can do. So he does decide to go there. So we're going to move an aggressive rook positioning. So we're going to decide. Yeah. I think that's the play. It's definitely the play. Yeah, that's looking good. All right, so now he's going to come in with the king. So what I want to do here is stack my bishops. My rooks. I stack the rooks. Strong rook positioning. And then from here, I believe that we move the bishop, forking, and then attack. Yeah. That'll give me a pawn advantage once all that is taken, as well as a piece advantage, obviously. Okay, we're going to set up just like I said. So set this up, force him to move his rook. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and defend the bishop with the pawn. Keep myself nice and safe. And then if he takes with the pawn, this is check with the bishop. Putting him in check. You'd either have to move here or here. Check or check. And then we can start zeroing in on him. The checkmate almost feels inevitable at this point. We'd have to really mess up to lose. But that can happen. He is down on time again. The second guy today that's been down on time. All right. You know, I really wasn't expecting that. Not saying it's a bad move. Just wasn't really expecting it. So what if we have the king come into the party? I don't know what he's doing. I don't see anything super dangerous, so I'm just going to keep pushing my king. Because I don't see what he can do. I'm stacked here. See, the two rooks are significantly stronger than the one rook. It's kind of like what they say if you have one person trying to lift something, and then you get a second person, and they're also trying to lift. They can lift significantly more weight than they could individually. But because he does offer the trade, I guess I cannot trade. So let's keep pushing the king. Cannot trade because this bishop is pinned here with the check. But I will still take that trade if he offers it. So then we'll take here. And then we'll trade off the other rook, and the game is pretty much over at this point. We would have to royally mess up to lose this game. So I'm just going to kind of speed through the rest of this game just to not bore anybody. I mean, he's only got 59 seconds too, so he doesn't have a lot of time. Just kind of clean up the rest of his board. And then we'll push for a queen, and the game is over. Well, today has been a good day for us. That's a win. Resignation. Yeah, mate in 16. I don't know if I would have necessarily found the mate in 16 immediately. I probably would have pushed the queen. I don't know how many moves that is, but that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. If you're not asleep yet, I don't know what to tell you, because that was the purpose of the video. But we did get some wins. Our road to 1,000 ELO, I can almost taste it. I'm like, right on the tongue. I can taste it. We're almost there. Anyways, please like, subscribe. I'll catch you next time.